Hi, everyone. Dr. Evelyn, the pet nutrition doctor here. And as part of our series discussing the amazing products in our holiday health giveaway, I'm honored to have Greg Tilford joining me today. Now, Greg is a leading force and an early pioneer in the field of veterinary botanical medicine. And for the past 24 years, he has studied medicinal plants, their human and animal uses, and their interconnected relationships, as well as their roles of plants and animals as teachers and keepers of planetary wellness, which I love. Greg has authored 4 books, including the acclaimed Herbs for Pets, The Natural Way to Enhance Your Pet's Life, and dozens of published articles. He's taught around the world from Japan to Central America. And part of his goal is to teach people how to use local plants and weeds safely in the care of animals anywhere, even in the most impoverished regions. He was named National Holistic Teacher of the Year in 2019 by the American Holistic Veterinary Medical Association, Council of Elders, and he is the co-founder and president of Animal Essentials, which is a company that's been manufacturing natural pet products since 1995. Greg, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Dr. Ivy. It's great to be here. Always great to talk to you.
Thanks. So in our wonderful holiday health package, we have your natural pet travel kit, which I do want to talk about because it's an amazing combination of herbal products. But I wanted to start talking about the benefits of herbs over pharmaceuticals for all of us, but also for the planet.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to go on there. I mean, the benefits of using anything holistic, herbals and such is it's not even so much the fact that you're selecting a different modality, a safer modality of medicine, but it kind of forces us to look at the bigger picture to find effectiveness. I mean, when we employ, in my mind, in the way I use herbs, when we employ herbal remedies, we're taking on a whole new perspective of how we approach health and wellness. Herbs at their best, at their very best capacity, are used to support the body in what it's naturally designed to do, which is contrary to most of the pharmaceutical devices out there, which are supposed to do something that the body doesn't do. It shuts something down or turns something on or overstimulates something. It's different. So the beauty of herbal medicine is that by learning how to use them effectively and holistically, we're forced to look in from a much deeper perspective into the subject that's receiving it, whether it be ourself or an animal or whatever. And we learn a lot about the wellness and the health, not only of the recipient of that herb, but the environment around them, because a lot of what we use herbs for is to support the body against influences that are occurring from outside of the body. And it really broadens the effectiveness of our approach and our effort when we can look outside of the body and look beyond the symptoms to find a more lasting cure, if you will. And when you use herbal medicines, you're kind of forced to do that. And you can treat the body holistically. You're working in harmony with what the body is designed to do rather than against it. And pretty much anybody that's been in medicine for a while, whether they admit it or not, to other people, know within themselves that there are things that the body can do, whether it be animal, human, or otherwise, that is just so far beyond the reach of our science. I mean, it's just so amazing what the body can do for itself if it is enabled to do that and it's allowed to do it with the right foods and everything else.
Right. No, I think that that's so true. And, we forget that when we're putting in pharmaceuticals, they're synthetics. They're things that the body really has never dealt with from a historical or ecological kind of standpoint. And the other thing that I love about herbs is that, the manufacturing of pharmaceuticals has its own downside, but people don't even think about when we take in an herb, we're going to excrete part of that and sometimes a lot of it
Oh,
into the
yes.
environment. And, there's places where because of how much of the birth control pill and the hormones are being excreted in our urine, it goes out into the wastewater and it affects the wildlife in the area where those waters are draining.
Absolutely. And not only that, but it comes around to us. It was many years ago, I read a study, and I'm sure it hasn't improved, but it was probably 10 years ago, that showed that every municipality and every water source that was tested, and they tested like 115 or 120 different municipalities and water sources, both from wells and from aqueduct water that had been treated for bacteria and such with chlorine, whatever, the full gamut, all of them showed residual antibiotics, hormones, and other chemicals that persist. And my brother used to be in the water business. He used to be in the water authority business in California, and he kept tabs on how water was handled and treated and everything else. And there are no checks. There are no filtering systems to remove these chemicals from municipal water supplies. It's just ignored. They're only killing bacteria and pathogens. They're not taking out harmful chemicals and drugs. And yes, we're finding, drugs that have been used for euthanizing animals. We're finding antibiotics, hormones, all kinds of stuff in our water supplies. And when we're aware of that, we can do something about it. If we're not aware of it, it goes unchecked. And the activism here is in changing the way we do things in our own life. That is the most powerful way to make a change.
No, I think that's absolutely correct. And I talk about that a lot. We don't think about it in some of these somewhat smaller areas, but I mean, I think both of us agree there's no way that any of us can be really healthy until the earth is healed.
Absolutely.
And that includes just, it's daily choices. It's making those decisions of what makes sense for us, for our pets, and for the environment around us.
Yeah, it's accepting our role within the biome that supports everything. We're part of it. We're not exclusive of it. We strive to be. We scientifically want to be. We want to conquer, all of the pathogens and viruses and everything that is inconvenient to us. But the truth is that we're part of the biome and we're out of balance with it. And the biggest change that we can, again, stimulate and begin to foster starts inside of us, the way we think.
Yeah, it's true. And that goal of conquering has really put us where we are right now, which is not in a really good place. So, that's, I appreciate your role in this journey because it's something that we all need to be part of. And you've been way ahead of the curve on all of this. So really appreciate that.
Thank you.
But let's take some time now to talk about the travel kit, because this is an amazing combination of products that you've put together to help pets deal with some of the stresses of travel. But I think we can also use it during the holiday, because the holiday can be a pretty stressful time as well. So do you want to talk about, I know we've got colon rescue in there, there's immune support and tranquility blend. Do you want to talk about those and why you put them all together in that package?
Well, the Tranquility Blend is a combination of 4 different nervine herbs, combative herbs, all which have different attributes. They work synergistically together to reach a broader audience. Valerian, for instance, is probably the best known calming agent. It's been used for a long time for humans and animals alike to take the nervous edge off exciting circumstances and stressful situations. The problem is that valerian's not suitable for every individual. It's a very warming herb. It's a very heating herb. And in some animals with a hot disposition, say they're always panting, they've got a bright red tongue, they've got a dry nose, they're hot, they're irritable, giving valerian to a dog like that is almost like giving a sip of whiskey to, an angry alcoholic or something. It just doesn't work right. It's not right for their constitution. So there's other herbs that have different attributes. Skullcap that's in that formula, Scutellaria, for instance, it has a calming effect too, but it's not warming. And it has an affinity toward nervous jitteriness, the kind of nervousness where, for instance, a loud noise will send a cat to the header of the car or something, or onto the ceiling. And, or the dog that you touch on the back and the skin twitches, nervous reactions. It has an affinity to that. The oat flower, on the other hand, has an affinity toward moderating and maintaining the integrity and the function of the nervous system, especially in older animals. It works directly at the myelin sheath at helping to maintain the integrity of the nervous system. And then the 4th component, passion flower, is also a calming agent, but it has a special affinity toward aggression, fear, anxieties related to separation, for instance. So by combining all 4 of them, we kind of negate the problems that I identified with valerian, because now you've only got 25 or so % of the formula in valerian, and everything kind of moderates out to where it will work as a general calming effect over a very broad audience of individuals. And this is obvious for people that travel with their pets. I mean, anxiety is a big problem in the car with a lot of animals, and or the trip to the groomer or wherever. And basically the formula is just designed to take the edge off. It doesn't sedate anything. You can't overdose with it. It just takes the nervous edge off enough so the animal can relax better. And the best way to use that is to give it, use the labeled dose right away, preferably before you can, in anticipation of the event, maybe half an hour. If you don't see a result within half an hour, dose it again. And you can dose it like every hour to get the effect you need. And it's been a very effective formula, very, very reliable formula.
Right. Yeah, I've used it a lot, actually. We traveled for a while. I used it for my cat, who's normally a nervous cat in general and a nervous traveler. And she didn't scream the whole time. And I know you can repeat it periodically, but it was like just by taking down that edge, even though we traveled for 6 hours, when we got to the end, she was still calm, and she got into the hotel and she was perfectly fine wandering around and, checking out her food and water and everything. So that was great. And I've used it for the dog. We do non-anesthesia dental cleanings. And the first time we did it, she wasn't too happy about it. The second time just was a breeze because I had given that ahead of time. So I love that product. I love that one.
It's really funny. Years ago, I had a veterinarian that was ordering it from us like twice a month. And she would order like 4 16-ounce bottles or 8-ounce bottles of it every time. And I finally called her. I said, Doc, this is awesome. You're using so much, or you're giving out to your clients a lot, huh? She says, no, I'm using it a little in my practice, but I'm taking a shot every afternoon after work. It helps me relax and go to sleep, and they're human quality herbs or human quality ingredients. It's done by the same standards as a human product in terms of quality. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I was, talk about a testimonial, my vet uses the product. No, I mean, my vet really uses the product, not prescribes it, but uses it,
I love that. I might have to think about using that. I hadn't even thought about it, but hey, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Now, also in that travel kit, we've got the colon rescue, which is something that I use a lot of in my practice because a lot of my patients have digestive issues. So I use it for almost any dog with diarrhea or specifically lower gut disease, but it sometimes helps even with the upper GI tract. So can you go through that and explain why you put that in that package, but also what it does?
Well, oftentimes in travel, excitement leads to digestive upset, one way or the other, constipation or diarrhea. I mean, the only, as you know, doctor, the digestive tract has a direct link to the brain, and it works immediately back and forth according to stress levels. Stress can be registered in the gut and transmitted to the brain back and forth. It's very unique. And when that occurs, when those symptoms occur, obviously we have to do something. So the colon rescue is designed out of a combination of herbs. It's pretty interesting combination in that the slippery elm and the plantain, that's Plantago species. It's a plant, not the stuff that looks like a banana. But it's got a mucilage component that is very slippery, oily, water soluble that will help not only lubricate the digestive tract, but also feeds microflora in the tract. It's been shown to stimulate, and the marshmallow component as well, to stimulate microflora production. It's a prebiotic. And as well, it's been shown to stimulate fixed T cell macrophage activities in the gut. It's got immunostimulating properties and such to keep things healthy in times of stress. The interesting thing about this combination of herbs is it will work both with diarrhea or constipation because of the mild astringency of the herbs. Slippery elm especially is rich in tannins, which have a constricting effect, as well as in addition to those mucilage components, that helps block excess fluid from coming into the digestive tract, same way that kaopectate does for us humans. It stops diarrhea, but it lubricates stool. So it works both directions. The licorice in there is anti-inflammatory in the gut. And it's also been known for thousands of years, especially in traditional Chinese medicine, to be a potentiating herb. Most people aren't aware. They think of traditional Chinese medicine, they think of ginseng and things like that. But the most commonly prescribed or used herb in traditional Chinese medicine is probably licorice, because it's used to potentiate and strengthen the effects of other herbs in the formula. And so it's used that way both in Western and Eastern modalities all the time. In this, it's used that for that purpose, but mostly as an anti-inflammatory for animals with irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, and such. Plus, it's tasty. It makes it easy to feed.
True. And
Actually, the slippery elm tastes like pecan pie. I think it's really pretty good.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's amazing. So yeah, and I've used, as I say, I've used that a lot. But even the marshmallow alone, um, one of my daughters actually depends on that for her long-haired cats, just to keep the hairballs from blocking things up and causing messes on the floor. So really an interesting combination of herbs. And then the licorice is also good for the liver as well, right?
absolutely. A lot of people, there's bad press on licorice because of gross overdose of licorice candy in the past, and there's supposedly one on record now where people eat too much licorice and it has a kind of a corticoid-like effect with water retention. But you have to really have 25 years of using licorice at the top of my list. Um, I've never seen those manifest, but yes, absolutely. And a lot of people don't realize that licorice has effects upon the liver, well researched too, very well researched, that are in many ways even more useful and potential than milk thistle. It works in many of the same ways to protect the liver and stimulate the liver in the presence of pathogenic infection, any kind of infection, et cetera, or toxins in the body. So it's a very good liver herb.
Yeah, that's a powerful, very powerful herb, and has a lot of really good effects. So that one's nice too. And then you've got the immune support in that travel kit. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the immune support there, it was originally designed for animals that go in and out of shelters to help strengthen immunity when they go in and also create a direct intervention against various pathogens. The olive leaf component of that formula has remarkable science behind it, especially in just in vitro studies where it's just knocked down hundreds of different known pathogens ranging from influenza to hepatitis, A, B, and C, all the way to HIV in studies. It was abandoned by the drug companies because they couldn't isolate one component to make it work. You have to use the whole plant. Whole plant's greater than the sum of its parts. But the herbs in it are also known as adaptogens, like the eleuthero, for instance, in that formula. Adaptogens help the body's ability and its responsiveness to stressful stimuli, whether it be physical or non-physical. It helps boost immunity against stress. It helps the body respond more favorably under stress to help the immune system run effectively. So, again, in travel or transition, that's an important thing. And if your dog is being exposed to, say, kenneling, for instance, to a place that might be full of bordetella or whatever, a lot of people swear that it will help prevent that bordetella. It will help boost the immunity against it, but also have an active component that works directly against it. A lot of people use that formula a week before they put their dog or cat into a kennel, and up to 2 weeks after, to make sure that they're out of the woods.
Right. No, it's a great product, and I use that too. I'll use it in conjunction with any other medications that I need for any kind of infection, because I think it just enhances the body's immune response and seems to really make them feel a whole lot better faster, which is great. Now, one of the questions that I get is, can I give all of these together? And I have my answer, but I want to hear yours.
You can, but every situation's different. I'd have to ask first, why would you want to give all of them together? I mean, you'd have an excited dog with a digestive issue that needs immune support at the same time. Certainly you can. The problem with using too many things at once is that when you see results, it's hard to determine what's working, and my philosophy with herbal medicine is try to be a minimalist. Start with the smallest dose you can, start with the simplest formulas, start with the simplest approaches you possibly can. Look for a result after a day or two if you're looking at a longer term issue. But yes, they can be used together. I would recommend using them, using a maximum dose on a large dog back to back would be like pumping a lot of like 6 or 8 milliliters into the mouth of a dog if you used all 3 at the same time. So I'd recommend spreading them apart at least half an hour. And in all of these remedies, I highly recommend, if you can, to try to feed them or administer them on an empty stomach, at least half an hour between meals, an hour if possible. And the reason being is that, there's a very limited opportunity, very short period of time by which dogs, cats, and carnivores can really absorb the active components of herbs before they leave the digestive tract or they get burned up by digestive juices. And the less interference, the better. I mean, when you've got food going in on top of the herbs, and the odds of, X amount of herbal constituent getting in with the food is diminished because of there's all that food interfering and such. So try to use it on an empty stomach. If you got a dog that, for instance, that has motion sickness, then of course you want to start travel on an empty stomach anyway,
True. Yeah. And I can see, there's certainly situations where we have dogs that are anxious on the trip and they get diarrhea, and we don't want that combination. And so I will tell people to go ahead and give the two together. And I think of it a lot as these are plants, and so they're kind of like food. And when I'm making a salad and I'm throwing in, the spinach for the iron and the phytonutrients from the greens, and the onions for their antimicrobial and antioxidant activities, and then I throw in some fennel for my gut, and I do all these other things, I'm not thinking in terms of interactions. I'm just kind of thinking of what's going to taste good in the salad. So I don't perceive a challenge or a problem with putting things together, but to your point, you may not need them all, and you don't know really what's working sometimes. So is that a valid thought, or is there some concern with mixing and matching too much?
No, I think that's a valid thought. I think you're right on.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. And I know you talked about how you use the licorice to enhance some of the other herbs in that product. And you also talked about how you use the Tranquility blend and you put them all in to work from different angles, which is really fascinating, to kind of hit that anxiety from just all different pinpoints. Are there other herbs that work together where there's kind of a synergistic effect that maybe is, 1 + 1 is not 2, but 3 or 4? And we get kind of an improved effect by mixing and matching certain herbs
Well,
together.
there's tons of them. I mean, one that I use all the time in conjunction are dandelion and milk thistle. A lot of people know milk thistle because of its liver cell regenerative capabilities, its liver protective capabilities. That herb was actually discovered through empirical data that suggested that it antidoted Amanita mushroom, death cap mushroom poisoning. And scientific discovery determined that it does. And it does so by actually blocking, it works as an antioxidant, so to speak, but it makes liver cells less pervious to the toxins that would otherwise destroy the liver. At the same time, it rebuilds and stimulates reproduction of liver cells. However, it doesn't stimulate liver function like dandelion does. So if you've got a sluggish liver situation, you've got a digestive issue that you think is relative to liver deficiency and the inability for the liver to produce the enzymes and the juices, the acids, everything that it needs to, it's just not working hard enough, then you'd add dandelion to that formula and you're going to potentiate the effect of the entire approach, because you're protecting the liver now with the milk thistle and you're gently stimulating it, adding another measure of stimulation with the dandelion. Ginger and mint work together really well for digestion, motion sickness. It's believed to help with circulation in and around the ears and throughout the body. So at a micro capillary level, while at the same time the mint is antispasmodic and has a calmative effect on the gut itself, on the stomach, in addition to tasting good and making the breasts smell good. So they work very well. They complement each other very well.
Right.
But the list goes on and on. I mean, almost every formula that I've done in the Animal Essentials line is built synergistically. So not only to meet a broader audience of recipients, but also to potentiate the formula so it's more effective in any one direction.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And your knowledge about all of this is amazing. And so, I've been using your products for years, and I've known you for years, and I see the effects. I mean, I use them in nearly every patient for something, and there's all different products that you've got for different things. And you mentioned the ginger and mint. I've been using that to daily digest for some of my dogs with that acid reflux issue. And boy, it really helps so much for many of them to kind of block that whole thing and stop the cycle, because that's really the big thing with that issue.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, so that's great. Well, I want to kind of turn. I think we've gone pretty deep on the herbs and how they work, and you've done a great job of explaining that. So I'd love to just kind of end this with hearing about what you're working on right now. I know you always have about 5 or 10 different projects going, but what's hitting your passion right now? What's your really exciting thing in
What
the?
I want to do when I grow up, in other
Yeah,
words.
there you go. Like all of us, right?
Yeah. Well, you remember you attended my keynote lecture in Nashville last year, and it was
Yes.
entitled Earth, Herbs, and Animal Wellness. And basically what I did in that lecture is I tried to tie together the relationships between human and animal health, but also planetary health. And it's taken me 25 years to come to the realization that the greatest benefit to be had from holistic use of herbs isn't from the selection of the herbs or exploitation of their components, but from the recognition that we're stepping into this giant vital system of well-being that the rest of the planet uses as well. And it gives us an opportunity to step back in and not only take better care of our animals and be preventative in what ails them, but in finding the best source for our plant medicines and finding ways to use them sustainably will also identify a lot of the issues that are causing chronic illness in the first place, the pollution issues, the pesticide issues, the Roundup issues. All those things come to light and you cannot ignore them. And the beautiful thing about using animal herbalism and holistic pet care to discover these things is that we bypass this racing human analytical brain and put everything in through the heart, which the brain listens to and acts upon immediately. Our science, our prejudices don't matter anymore when the dog or our cat, our beloved little innocent one, needs something. We listen and we take action, unlike we do for ourselves or our animals. And I think that's very, very powerful. So I'm writing that book, and my intent is to get back out into the world as soon as that is allowable and to spread that word. But also, I also believe in the deepest part of my soul that these plants are here for everything. They're placed here on earth for us to use. And they're being stepped upon in neighborhoods and communities and cultures and in impoverished areas where the oral traditions of herbal medicine have been forgotten or maybe weighed down underneath the baggage of living in harsh conditions and despair and everything else. I want to get into those places and help people help themselves and their animals from what grows around them and at their feet. And it's a feel-good thing, and it's healing me, and it's healing everything that whenever that little light goes on in anybody that listens to that philosophy, I've succeeded. And it's wonderful stuff. I really enjoy it. And that's what you're going to see coming from me mostly now, is teaching the philosophies, the principles, the deep ecology of herbal medicine.
That's amazing. And I love that message, and that keynote was, very heartfelt. But I think that's something that, we all feel if we take a walk in nature, we take a walk in the woods, or even here in the desert, there's a connection there. And we have forgotten that. And I think that there is a powerful connection between these plants and us. And, we need to get back to honoring that. And to get back to your, our original discussion about just daily choices, we did a couple of posts on dandelion root and dandelion leaves. And, I just want to change that thought of looking at that dandelion as a weed and something to spray poison on that poisons all of us, to looking at it as it's there for us. It's popping up because we need it right now, because it
Absolutely.
has the power to really help to heal us. And I think we need to start changing the way we look at the plants around us, just as you're teaching. And I just love that.
Somebody asked me once on one of my field trips, a very well learned herbalist, probably a better herbalist than me, said, "Greg, when you look at that dandelion there, what's the first word that comes to your mind?" And it came to me immediately. I said, "Perseverance."
Oh,
And the
yes.
reason being is, that herb, it probably originated in Europe or Asia, somewhere in, the midway between the two continents, somewhere out there. And it was likely brought over by the earliest American settlers as both a food, a forage, and a medicine. They used it for everything medicinally. It was diuretic. It was used for cancer. It was used as a bitter. It was used for salads. It was used to feed the animals. And like every other weed, its virtues were forgotten. It just became inconvenient because it interfered and it grew where other crops grew. And now the approach is to just paint the landscape with herbicides and kill it. What happens when we do that? More comes up because it has to heal the land. Other plants come up to replace and filter those toxins from the land. We need to listen to that. It's a very powerful, quiet lesson. Here in Oregon, we had the horrible fires this year, awful. I mean, you can see the scene behind me. Ashland, Oregon was spared, but everything north of me, two towns were pretty much demolished, 3,000 houses.
Wow.
Before even spring comes, I mean, we've got frost on the ground. You can see mullein and you can see various plants, earth regenerators rising out of the ash to begin the genesis of creating new soil, bringing pollinators into the environment to attract birds and to seed other plants as well. And it's all part of this amazing grand system that's here to support all of us, and we learn to appreciate it. We learn to love it. And if we love it, we take better care of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I think the lessons that we learn from the earth as it heals can teach us a lot about how we can heal as well. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Greg, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been
Thank
amazing,
you.
and
For all you do.
love your message, and I love your goals here. And I can't wait to see the new book when it comes out. Great.
Thank you.